guys hear me?
What? Yeah, it muted us for some reason. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, I saw that. I thought you did it. I was going to say
I
thank you.
if I did, it wasn't on purpose.
Okay. Just want to say thank you for everybody for joining us. I'm Leroy. That's Michael. Thanks for joining the We Trine channel on Nerdy by Nature Productions. And I'm going to do my best to get through this. I have a little cold. I've taken some medication, so I apologize if I'm a little loopy because
Medication and alcohol, or just medication? Or is alcohol your medication? I don't know.
I said what I said. Anyway,
Okay. All
what'd you
right.
do today?
What did I do today? I caught up on some stuff. I watched Crime Scene Kitchen. Man, that's a great show. I don't know if you've seen it. I feel like you and
I have
Katie
not.
might like it.
I have not.
The premise is it's a reality competition show, but it's not like I'm not a fan of reality competition where the people have to like really go at each other because I don't really like that. I kind of like more of the British stuff where they kind of just do stuff and they're kind of nice. They're not really cutthroat. But
Hmm.
in this, the host is Joel McHale, and the idea is that something has been baked in a kitchen, and the contestants have to figure out what the mystery dish is based on the ingredients they find in the kitchen.
Hmm.
And then a celebrity chef and Yolanda Gamp. I don't know if you know Yolanda Gamp. She's a real
Do not.
famous social media person who does a lot of baking and stuff and does fancy cakes. But they judge. But it's a fun show.
Cool.
So I watched that. I finished up Bad Monkey on Apple TV Plus. I really enjoyed that. I hope that gets a second season because that was fun. It's essentially Vince Vaughn just being Vince Vaughn. So if you like Vince Vaughn, you will probably like the show. If you don't, you probably won't.
Okay. I saw the
But
trailer for that. It's another thing on my list to watch.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So what'd you do today?
Unlike you, I wasn't a piece of shit, and I walked for cancer today.
I don't think
Came
that's
out of nowhere.
necessary.
I know.
It yeah. I was like,
The
okay,
slander, the slander starts early. No, Katie signed us up um, for a cancer walk this morning, and they say when you have a spouse, get your opposite, and I definitely got my opposite because like I care about these things, but I wasn't
as
walking.
an outside person observing in, yeah, you guys are opposite.
Yeah, I being friendly, talking to people I don't know, and walking like early in the morning. No, that's not me. But she signed us up. We took the boys. Um, we got these cool shirts, and we did a 5K this morning.
That's nice.
All before pretty much 10 o'clock. And so yeah, so Katie has a woman at her job who's had a. I'm not trying to put her business out there, but she had like a double mastectomy. This is a second cancer scare, and
Jeez.
for those of you who know, my mom had suffered from myeloma, so it's she thought it was a good idea for us to do it, and I appreciated it, and we went. So that's what I did today, and realized I can do a 5K easily. And we took the boys, so I pushed the wagon for 3 miles.
Yeah, if I
Um,
could 3 miles, that's nothing. I mean, especially walking it, that's nothing.
yeah, try to push 70 pounds the entire time. I realized that I am not as
Those
I'm
were all choices that you made.
no, I did not make them. I legally I did not make them. Uh,
Okay.
I was told that I'm going.
No, no,
Um,
no. That's not. That wasn't the point of my conversation. But okay.
uh, but
I
I
was saying
realized.
legally, you made the choices of the 70 pounds was your choice.
Oh no no no! A back rub turned into a mortgage and some kids. Um,
Okay, great.
uh, anyway, I realize that I'm in shape, like I'm okay. However, comma, I'm not in the shape that I thought I was in, and I
Are
felt
you
it a
trying
little
to
bit.
are you trying
Like,
to compare yourself to how you were in the military?
no, 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 I will never be
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay.
I mean, like 5 years ago,
Oh, okay.
like because me and my brother,
Oh, like when you like used to exercise at the station.
yeah,
You
yeah.
would like go for runs and stuff at the station. I
Mhm.
remember that.
Yeah, and during my
Yeah.
lunch break, and then like during my
Yeah.
lunch break, before the kids, me and Katie would go. I'd go to the gym during my lunch break, but it's like I've gotten away from that, and I'm like, oh, I need to get back. I need to get back to that because it's like I'm watching dudes do a half marathon and running. I'm like, man, I used to be happier when I ran, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I
Sure.
exercise regularly, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm. Oh yeah, I used to not be angry when I ran because I burn off. Okay, okay, I got it. I got it. So
It's almost like exercise is good for you in multiple ways.
I know,
Yeah.
but I love bacon too much to give it
Yeah.
up.
Food is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did today. And so yeah, and so I'm here. And as we were walking, um, you asked me what I thought our topic should be, and I wanted to stay in the vein of happiness and not uh um um I was thinking about the discourse around Joker 2, the discourse around like some of these movies and shows and properties, and I was like, I don't want to be those people.
Side note, is it just me or was there not a lot of fanfare before even Joker 2 came out like the way Joker 1 was? And I mean
Well,
from the
here
standpoint of I don't even feel like it got promoted as heavily as Joker 1 did.
so here's the thing. I
Whether or
think
not
it
it was
didn't.
good just before it came out, I didn't see commercials for Joker 2 like I did for Joker 1.
Here's the thing. I've noticed something too about that, and I don't know what is going on. I don't know if the marketing is directed, excuse me, differently this time around. I didn't see as many trailers on television. I didn't see as many adverts, different places that I did before. Now it's not, and here's the thing. I watch sports. So usually that's where you would see a lot of the trailers. And you're right, I did not see a lot of the build up for the Joker 2, but I'm also wondering, was that on purpose? Because a lot of people that I've noticed the discourse were like, "Well, I didn't know it was a musical." And I'm like, "How did you not know that? It was announced when they said they were doing a sequel." Like there's musical elements in the trailer. It does seem like the messaging and the advertisement did not match what the movie was. So
The new Wonka movie kind of hinted. I mean, I guess maybe the last trailer, but those first few trailers did not hint that it was a musical.
see that, and I disagree because when we watched, we talked about that this is a musical,
We knew that before we saw the trailer.
but we
Like
talked
that the
about it.
trailer, right? But the trailer didn't let you know it was a musical.
I have to go back and watch that one, but yeah,
Yeah.
the movie marketing and the marketing around some of these properties has been weird, and that's a different conversation. I really would.
Very
Um,
yes, Ken from Chicago. Same. I was about to say the same thing. I think the most recent Wicked movie trailer
mhm.
let you kind of know it's a musical, but if you don't know, like if you don't know it's based on a Broadway play, oh yeah, this is a musical. The first few trailers didn't really. I mean, granted, it is Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo who are great singers, so that kind of
True,
hypes you. But
but here's the
if you
thing:
don't pay attention,
if you don't know that though,
yeah,
because like I know Cynthia Erivo is a Tony Award winning singer. She has won a Tony, right?
I assume so. I don't
let
know
me
for sure, but I feel like she should have won
let
one
me
if she
retract
hasn't.
that. I know she's known in certain circles for being a musical talent.
Hmm.
I have never seen her in anything musical. I know her as being an actress. Yeah,
You didn't
I'm
see.
not. Nope. This
You don't
is
even know what I'm going to say yet.
I. If it's musical, I know I ain't seen it.
You didn't see El Royale? She sings
What?
in El Royale. The one with Chris
Don't
Hemsworth, The Bad Times at
don't
the El
remember.
Royale.
Don't
Really?
remember
Yeah,
her
she
singing
sings
that.
in that movie.
Don't even remember she was in it.
Jeez. All right.
Yeah, because like I know her from The Outsider. I know her from Harriet Tubman. Um,
Widows.
which yes, she was a. And see, that's where I first noticed her. Widows.
Hmm.
where I remember. So yeah, I'm not knocking musicals; they're just not my thing. Now, Katie, that's a musical watching. I'll tell you right now, because I've had this argument before. A lot of people are like, "Well, you watch musicals," and I'm like, the my favorite musical until Hamilton came out was The Song of Music, The Sound of Music, and everybody was like, "It's not one of the greatest," and I was like, "You didn't ask me what was the greatest. You asked me what I thought was the greatest."
Right.
So yeah, um, but I wanted to have a conversation about something different, something that I noticed, and it kind of came out of the last next console, next generation console watch from IGN, when they talked about the different properties that Microsoft has, and how Microsoft has done a bad job of their first party properties getting them out in multiple media outlets. Is and I thought interesting because they're right. Halo should be front and center the mascot for the Xbox, and it's not. The TV show wasn't great. The animated stuff wasn't great, and I was just like, but that's not just a Microsoft problem. That's indicative of a lot of different video game properties that have not done well when they translate from a video game to live action or animation or whatever. And I was just thinking, what were some of the good ones and why did those work? And because we have The Last of Us, we have Fallout. I would even wager Twisted Metal was actually pretty decent, but that's about it. I mean, hold on, the Sonic franchises, I heard is pretty good, and I like Detective Pikachu. Um, and so
Couple
like
of things with. Sorry, go ahead. I got a few thoughts on
no,
that.
I just wanted to go in, and there's a couple other ones that I did not mention that I missed, but I basically wanted to go over how were they fumbling the bag so easily, and maybe they need to stop focusing on live action so much, and maybe look at animation and in the different ways animation is able to tell a story, a tighter story that stays closer to your original source material and satisfies the your hardcore fans and brings in new fans.
Okay. You got a lot of plate spinning there. Just off the top, my overall impression is two big thoughts. One, I think one issue that hampers adaptations of video
Excuse me.
games compared to like adaptations of a book
Mhm.
are a lot of times with a video game, you are the impetus to make things happen. Like everything usually always revolves around your character. So
Uh-huh.
you are the driving force in it. And I won't pretend like this is I came up with this, but I think it's a good I like the thought behind it is you're the driving force in a video game. You're making all the decisions. You're pressing the A button to make things happen. But when you're watching something, you're passive. You're not necessarily active. And so, oh, did you do that? You probably did on purpose. Never mind. Okay. When you're when you're watching something, you are passive. So you don't necessarily have to be active in things. And I feel like that changes the pacing of a lot of things. So that's why it's hard sometimes to make a video game adaptation from something that's besides a video game. Point one.
True.
And then point two, I think we are getting better at video game adaptations now compared to like 10, 20 years ago. I feel like we've had more stuff consistently better now than we have in the past.
Yes, I agree
My
with
two
that.
overall thoughts.
So the first thing when you said the pacing is different, and because the vehicle of a video game, you are the person experiencing the story, not just a passenger along for the ride. In a video game, you're normally the actions of the main character. You perform those actions. Excuse me. The the difference in a movie or television show is you're viewing the actions through that character's eyes. You're not necessarily making those choices. Um, the problem that I have is that, or I think that we have is one, no one is taking the source material seriously. I think that is one of the biggest problems. A lot of times if you go back to your video game adaptations from movies, a lot of them were trash because they just wanted to put something out for people who like the property to play the game. And a lot of those video game adaptations were not good. Very few of them were actually decent enough. I know the South Park people actually did a good job with some of their games. Simpsons did a good job with some of their games, but by and large, a lot of these movies or television properties when had video games, they were bad. And so the vice versa is when you take something that is a video game, if you don't respect the source material, you're going to get something on screen that's not very good. Um,
Hmm.
we have seen The Last of Us being one of the most recent, and then Fallout was very good. And I think one of the problems that we run into is when you look at a video game and it's set in a universe this video game has already done a lot of the world building. And the question is, do you take the main character of that particular video game and build a story? Do you adapt the story that was told in the video game? Or do you let them go on an adventure that is similar to the video game, but it's its own unique story? Or do you set the video game in that universe where they interact with the main characters ever so often? And I think that is the challenge of a lot of these properties because video games have so many different varied. So, perfect example, Fallout, the main character is you. You create the main character. It's not the same character like it is in Halo where it's Master Chief, or in Doom it's um what is his name?
I think it's just Doom Guy.
Doom guy. Um so so in those games you can kind of set that. In Fallout you were able to set that character, and the main character is somebody we had never seen before. You would use a lot of the elements of that world to build this TV show, and that really helped kind of capture the feel of that video game. Um, so I kind of wanted to go into like what has worked, like which ones have worked for you and for me, and then look at a couple of video games and say maybe live action isn't for you. Like,
I think it all depends. It's so weird, right? Because, and I think I'll go ahead and make a blanket statement that will probably be true at the end. I think at the end of this conversation, one, we won't solve it, but I think the idea that we will come up with is that there is not one blanket rule that fits everything. Because I'm thinking, as I'm thinking of things now, I'm like, oh, this worked and this didn't work, and they're kind of similar games, or this worked and this also worked, and they're different games. Um, but I'm just throwing that out there now, and we'll see where we go. That's my prediction on what could or could not happen.
okay, so I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna go through a couple, and you tell me where they missed the mark, and should it have been? Should they have stayed live action or gone video or gone animated route, like an
Okay.
Arcane or Vox Machina? Of course, my favorite one to bash is Halo. What's your opinion about Halo? Where did they go wrong, and what should they have done?
All right. So full disclosure, I've only seen the first season of Halo. I heard Halo 2 or the season 2 of Halo was better, but I don't know. Not so much better that they decided to continue the series, so that tells you something. But the first season of Halo, I think everybody always there was a buzzword going around, and I don't remember when it started, but I kind of remember it happening with Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy with superhero movies going forward, where everything wanted to be dark and gritty, or at least not if dark and gritty, then very realistic and grounded. And I think sometimes trying to make something grounded doesn't work for every property. Uh, as realistic or grounded as you want to say Halo can be, because you're dealing with humans for the most part, right? And you're fighting aliens. That's fine, but you are the main character's Master Chief is a human. Um, Sometimes you kind of have to take that fantastical element and let it be part of the universe. I think they wanted to tell so many different backstories to Master Chief in the first season leading up to, because season one was they hadn't even got to I think season two was the Fall of Reach, right? So they were even before that in
Correct.
season one. Yeah. So you like the
because
events
they
of season
remember
one and
they were
season two,
stationed on Reach
right? Like the
for
events of
season
season
one.
one and season two were before the first game even started. Really, the first Halo Combat Evolved. Um, and I think they were trying to answer stories. I think one thing we'll see sometimes some mysteries are just better left being mysteries, and you kind of like that. Case in point, it's not a video game, but Solo, a Star Wars story. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I think the thing that a lot of people can agree on though is the plot. The points where it missed the mark were trying to give us explanations for stuff we really didn't need. Like nobody really cared how he got the name Han Solo. Didn't matter. It was just a cool name, Han Solo. That's cool. Nobody cared about fuzzy dice. That didn't really matter. It was just there. Um, and I think sometimes giving backstory to things that aren't necessarily important kind of hinder you because you're kind of in a no-win scenario. Ken from Chicago brought it up. I think Kay also brought it up. Sometimes people want things to follow the video game script religiously, meticulously. They want it to be exactly what you saw before. You're just seeing it in a different form. And then sometimes you want it to kind of go off in a different direction. Uh, I don't know which one's right and which one isn't. I think it kind of depends on who is working on it. But I feel like the biggest issue for Halo was it tried to tell us backstory to things nobody really cared about. It tried to add some depth to things that Master Chief having, spoiler alert for Halo season one, Master Chief having sex seemed kind of weird. And not saying that the character couldn't, but it's just not something anybody was accustomed to. And I don't know that that needed to happen within that
or
show.
or it just didn't fit. Like
Hmm.
they like I believe you could have that moment, but it didn't fit the tone of the show because the show was all over the place.
Hmm.
So I definitely agree with you about that. Um, but continue. Sorry.
No, I mean that was my thoughts on Halo. I just feel like it didn't necessarily work because it tried to answer questions that we didn't need answer to. And I think a lot of people, I feel like if you want to know about the Fall of Reach, read the books. Halo ODST is Fall of Reach, right? That game? Chat, let me
Uh,
know. I feel like Halo ODST kind of hit
no,
on
it's New
Fall of Reach.
Mombasa. Uh, ODST
Oh,
is New Mombasa
oh, but
because I
there
played.
isn't there a Halo game that came out that
There's
did Fall of
there's a
Reach?
reach.
No.
Yeah, there is a Halo
Yeah, yeah,
reach.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there's
Thought so. Um,
uh
Master Chief barely having his helmet on. Yeah, that's also true too. I mean,
so
you can look at a good example. Master Chief with his helmet off, kind of weird, but people love Dread, and the most recent Dread movie, he kept his helmet on.
so
That's how you
let
know
me
the
ask you:
character.
would you still go if you had to do it all over again, knowing what you know now, seeing the live action? Would you still, if Microsoft came to you and said, "Michael, we watched the We Try channel, a lot of good points. What do you want us to do with Halo? Live action, movie, television series, or animation?"
Well, that's interesting because we've had so many. Has there been a Halo anime yet?
There's been some Halo animated clips, but
I mean, aside from like Red vs. Blue, which if you want some random machinima stuff, man, Red vs. Blue was good stuff, and that got into some heady stuff, dealing with using the Halo game engine and stuff. But I don't know. Like I like the idea of doing things in live action. I feel like it can kind of put you, it can more center the viewer into something because you can almost relate to it more depending on the person as okay, this is real life, so I can kind of get behind it more, or this is actual grounded, live action stuff. Sometimes with animated, it automatically puts people off, and that can kind of be a detriment because there's so much good animated material out there. I do think, and we've talked about this before when we on our old channel when we were talking about the Lion King that was live animated. Sometimes it can be tough to capture characteristics of things when it's live action as opposed to animated because you can be more expressive in how characters move and their eye movements and things than you can with real stuff. It kind of like heightens the expression that you can make to give you more emotions.
okay. So you would still go live action.
I don't know if I answered your question. I have to settle that. I think a live action Halo could work. I just think maybe the wrong people are doing it. That's what I'll go with.
Okay. I agree with a lot of what you said when it came to Halo, and I I did not like Halo in the sense of now I say this not being a huge Halo fan. Like I love the world, but I wasn't like playing the games religiously. I played them and I was like, okay, they're cool. But
you want to give them your take?
what what take? I have a lot of takes. So which one?
There was a
Which one?
take you talked about, same thing you talked about. You equated Master Chief as a character to Boba Fett,
Yes.
where you were like, he's a shiny looking toy, but maybe his story just isn't that good to begin with.
So I always said that Master Chief as a character in the games themselves, Master Chief did not. It Master Chief was kind of a blank slate to the point where he just did things and he was cool because he did those things. He wasn't cool because of a particular characteristic about him, if that makes sense. He was the Master Chief and he had this reverence because he got shit done. But he necessarily wasn't a cool character as far as like, oh, I want to like John Wick exudes a coolness to him. Like
Hmm.
Keanu Reeves exudes some like just the way he carries himself, the way he walks, the way he talks, where you're just like, there's something about that guy. And I felt like one of the things that was off was, and I say this saying, I'm not saying the games had to be translated exactly on screen the way they were. That's not what I'm about to say. However, if you go back and watch Xbox, to me, when it came to live action trailers for their games, especially Halo, were the best in the business. When you go back and watch the Fall of Reach trailer, go back and watch that trailer where there's Spartans running, there's one with the bomb, you see them, and the Spartan falls, and she has this bomb in her hand, and the timer's going off, and the whole time you hear the timer and you hear this music, and she falls. And then there's another Spartan who sees her, picks up the bomb, jetpack opens up, shoots up, gets on an enemy ship, stands there for a second, sees this entire battalion of troops of Covenant, throws the bomb, walks out, ship blows up, trailer ends, Halo, Reach, or Halo, we either we believe or we remember, something like that. And I just remembered that's the type of thing that I remember, and I felt like that feeling is what I should have gotten from the TV show. This idea
Do
of
you
humanity is at hu- the humanity is at their doorstep of being wiped out. And I never once felt that watching that first season, which to the point never made me want to watch the second season. I
do you
never
also
felt.
think
Go ahead.
well, do you also think the fact that that was like a short 30 second to a minute thing kind of helped it, where it's like, oh, this is just a blurb, so we can go full force in a minute. You don't have to worry about trying to do pacing for 30 minutes or an hour.
No, because I think it's one of those things where, and the reason I bring that trailer up is because we've in journalism classes that we've taken with Pointer, they showed one of the Halo. I remember going to one of the Pointer classes, and they showed a Halo trailer in the class, and they said your package has to hit these like you have see how much time they took in this 30 seconds. They were able to tell an entire story, and that was 30 seconds. You have a minute, your package is a minute 30. You should be able to tell a story just as well. It may not look as good, but you should be able to capture the audience in that same period of time, if not longer, that this trailer does. And I thought that was indicative of what the show didn't have. You did not even do a good job of that. The advertisement for the video games did, and I liken Halo because I felt like you didn't have to be original in the sense of you could have literally copied the Mandalorian, and you would have done okay. It was almost like they to looked at
Which
the
one came
Mandalorian.
out first, Halo or Mandalorian?
Mandalorian.
Okay.
To me, it was almost like the Mandalorian came out, and the producers and the people behind Halo was like, we're going to go in a totally different direction. Because how many times did you see Jen Jordan without his helmet on?
I mean, you mean first season or now?
The
Because he's
entire
taken it off
three,
quite a few times. He's taken it
he's
off
taken
quite a
he,
few times.
he's taken it off. But what I'm saying is, in 3 seasons, he's taken that helmet off less than Master Chief did in that first season.
I'd agree with that.
And the mystique of the Mandalorian, this guy who was from this warrior cult, had more mystique than Master Chief, who had 6 or 7 games. So like you'd already built up this idea that you did not need to take the helmet off, and that
Do you
was,
think they would have? Ken from Chicago actors hate hiding their faces.
you
I
know
mean,
what
that's why I like.
you know what actors hate more? Not getting a paycheck.
Yeah. Do you? I wonder if maybe they had gone a different route and cast somebody else who's not Pablo Schreiber, who is a C-list, D-list, or not even in terms of talent, but somebody you don't know. And that way, if their face is covered, it doesn't they don't push back as much, and maybe that helps. I don't know.
And see, I, I'm not gonna say I disagree with that, because I think if you would have told Pablo, you're a voice actor, you're going to be portraying Master Chief, this opportunity is big for you, but we're cutting back on how much screen time you're going to have. I think he would have been okay with it, provided the story was good. Because Pedro Pascal doesn't seem to have any problems running around as the Mandalorian when there are 3 other people who actually are the Mandalorian in that suit. He just provides the voiceover. Um, to me, that's why I said I have such big problems with the Halo TV show, because you had a blueprint. You mentioned Dread. I actually forgot about Dread. The fact that Carl Urban played that role and never once did he take his helmet off. Yet we always associate Dread with Carl Urban, and that was a masterful performance.
Hmm.
And so to me, you had two very good performances. That, um, but Kim from Chicago, this isn't a superhero movie. And again, the idea behind the superhero movie is you're playing a character, but then you have these moments in between where you're a regular person. In Halo, he never took the helmet off. So I disagree with that point that Halo is a superhero movie. Halo was a military action show based on a video game with a character we never saw once saw his face. So to me, when you broke that logic or broke that line, you changed the nature of what the show was. And I would say, to me, I would still do live action, although I wouldn't be upset if they went the arcane route and told the story in the Halo world and let Master Chief fall back and be kind of like a Terminator type character. Excuse me, a la Terminator 2, where Master Chief is the Terminator, and there are 2 people who you see are the main characters, and the Terminator was kind of an accoutrement to Linda Hamilton and what is that kid's name? John. It's John Connor, but the real actor's name? John.
That's a great
Uh,
question. I can't remember
I
now.
can't remember, but I wouldn't have mind that. But to me, I'd go back and watch some of those old Halo commercials for ODST. Oh my gosh, ODST is an amazing commercial. Um, when you go back and watch some of those live action, they're amazing. So that's my feeling about Halo. Um, um, Kim Chicago, you keep saying actors hate hiding their faces. We have an entire line of actors doing voiceover work where they're not shown, whether it's Invincible, whether it's the animated series What If. I'm not disagreeing that superhero movies go back and forth, but for a Halo show, if you start that show and you say you're going to be showing your face, that's not a Master Chief Halo show. What up, Geeky Andre? Uh, so I would say I would still go live action. Here's another one. Um, Doom. What would you do with Doom? Would you go movie, live action, or animated series?
Those aren't all three. What do you mean, movie, live action, or animated?
Live action television series, live action movie, or animated?
Okay. I feel like Doom Guy is just somebody who just rips and tears. That's what he does,
Ripping
and
and a
things
tearing.
happen around. And things happen around Doom Guy.
Mhm.
For me, I think I would like animated, um, because you know how I feel about scary stuff, and not to say that Doom is scary, but in terms of like gore and stuff, me personally,
He fights
I
hell.
find it. Yeah, yeah, but no, no. What I'm saying is, I find it more. I can stomach it more if it's animated as opposed to, because I feel like special effects now are to the point where you could probably do a live action type of Doom and be fine. I just don't know if I want to see that personally in a live action version. Whereas I feel
Okay.
like it's more palatable animated wise, whether it's a 3D animation or 2D animation style. I feel like it's kind of like with Mortal Kombat, the video games, because the fatalities are so gory and so over the top and campy at times. It's easier to palate. Ed Boon and I think some people talked about the fact that when they do fatalities in Mortal Kombat, they have to figure out, sometimes when they do them, they figure them out, and then there's like, oh, we need to, as gory as they are, there's still a level of, you can pull yourself away from it, because if it was too gory, it's almost like it becomes too real. That's a lot of word vomit. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Yeah, you did have a word salad. So you would rather go now when it talks about animation. What type of animation would you like to see compared to something that you see that you think, and it doesn't have to be like a
I think
studio.
do a 3D. Honestly, I like this idea of anime studios taking over Western properties and doing things with them, like the new Suicide Squad, I don't know what the
Yeah,
word was, but like that
it's the
anime is pretty interesting.
same people behind Batman Ninja.
Yeah, I think that's cool. And like Studio Trigger, anime studio that I think recently did. What did Studio Trigger do? They're doing Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix. I think they did The Great Pretender on Netflix. Maybe they did the Cyberpunk anime. But if they were given the reins to a Doom, I think that could be interesting. I think they could do a great visual style to it, and I like it as an anime. I think they could be highly punchy and innovative with the camera shots they use, even though it's animation.
Um, Doom, Doom, I would like to see animated only because I think it would be expensive to do some of the really good the really good special effects that I would want to see in Doom,
Hmm.
because the idea behind Doom Guy is just this guy who just comes in and just wrecks shop. Um, now that there's going to be another game I'm going to bring up that is the opposite of what I want, is what I'm saying here, and there's a different reason. In Doom, it's a power fantasy, if that makes sense. You are the last bastion of humanity up against impossible odds. I would like to see Doom basically wreck shop, and what I would love to see it is, you did not watch, and I wish you had. Um, I wish you had watched Love.
Death and Robots.
Yes, if you go watch the first, now I'm I'm looking for it, and this is why I say I would love for it to be animated, because there is one. I did not realize this. I heard that it was, depending on where you lived, Love, Death, and Robots showed you different ones first. So I don't want to say this is the first episode. Um, but for me, the first episode, volume one, was Sunny's Edge. And basically, Sunny was a young lady who would dial into a monster. And basically, they were monster fights, um, to the death. And you would hack into your monster and you would fight somebody else. If you go back and look at that animation style, the way it was done, I would pay I would pay. I would subscribe to whatever streaming service it was on if you put a movie in that animation style and made it the Doom guy. Um, I it's currently listed as the fourth episode in the series in season one, but it was the first episode, so they play a little bit based on where you lived, which episode came first. But that was the first one. It was from Blur Studio. Uh, it was again amazing. So if you go back and watch that, um, Vaulted Halls and Tomb, is that the one where they found Cthulhu? Okay, is that the one where they found Cthulhu and there were like chains, and it was a special forces unit that kept going further and further into the caves, and then they kept getting these voices. That was another good one too. Um, that's where I would love to see an animated movie like Doom. And here's the thing, I think, and the reason why I bring up animation, and I'm really kind of like pushing animation to a certain extent, is thank you, Kay. I remember that episode. That episode, I've seen it a few times. Freaky as hell. Don't recommend it for the faint of heart. It is really a mind. You fill in the blank. Um, I was one of the skeptics of the Spider Verse before it came out because
Most people were.
I wanted a live action Miles Morales in the MCU. I was very much against it, and I'm old enough to know when I am wrong, and I was dead wrong to the point where the Across the Spider Verse movies to me are the best Spider Man movies of all time, hands down. And so a big budget movie done in that animation, I'd go to the movie theater to see it. I would, and I would sign up for whatever streaming service put forth that money for that. So let's tackle another one, and I'm looking. So I'm just going to use this one as a jumping off point. Assassin's Creed. Which game? How would you make it?
As I think about all the different protagonists of the Assassin's Creed games, I
We know who your
think
favorite is.
don't do that. I think
No, like your
Ezio
favorite's still
Auditore is probably, huh?
you too. There's your favorite assassin.
Um, you mean like specifically these? I think he has a lot of fun and is charismatic.
Oh, I wasn't going
Yeah,
Connor. I wouldn't go mess with you about Connor.
I thought that's what you were trying to
No,
do.
I
But
just
yeah,
know
no,
that that
I definitely like Ezio Auditore, Ezio Auditore, whatever his name is, the guy from
yeah,
Two and Brotherhood and Revelations, all that. I think, especially over the course of three games, he has a really good evolution and character arc. Um, but
would
just
agree with you.
comparing him to the first assassin, oh, I can't even remember who Assassin's Creed
Altair.
One was, Altair.
Altair. He's my favorite.
He was so nothing. I felt like and I get it, he was about his business, he was on a mission, but he just seemed like so lifeless. And I almost compare him. I think they did a better version of him with Assassin's Creed Origins, where that was a guy who was also very serious too. But I feel like we got more in his humanity as a character and dealing with his wife, which was interesting. But for me, I would go Ezio Auditore. I think, um, and I think that could probably be a TV show. Um, I think it could be a live action TV show, and I almost liken it to because you have a whole Assassin's verse. And I can't have a brain fart. Who Assassin's versus the who? Who's the people?
What do you mean? Like the assassins or
The other
the
group that they're fighting.
oh the Templars?
Yes, Templars. Thank you. Assassins versus Templars. I
Yeah.
think throughout all the games, I think there's kind of it could be a weekly style procedural show where they're doing a mystery. Um, and I almost feel like the first season could be set in a particular time frame, and then maybe the season one wraps up, and you realize, oh, this is actually contained. There is a second time frame that is the present. But I feel like
See,
that whole
go ahead.
first season could almost be a time period specific, not dealing with the present, but dealing in the past, and then the season finale or cliffhanger is, oh, somebody's been in the machine. They were at Abstergo, and there's a present day timeline as well.
So I would go. I love Michael Fassbender, but I thought that Assassin's Creed movie was terrible. I would love to me to do a proper Assassin's Creed. You cannot do a movie because the game and the lore is so dense. I would go live action, but I would only go live action if I could get the team behind Westworld. And I would make it to where, because I've never loved the Animus. I've always hated the Animus. I've hated the Animus coming out of it. I've hated all of that. However, comma, in a TV show, I do believe it can be pulled off by the makers of Westworld by showing the different worlds that you jack into in the Animus, and it
Hmm.
allows you to show off every different assassin time period while also having this present day battle with the Templar in real life. So you have this fight in the Animus back in time where you live these ideas, these this time period, and it allows for you to hop to different ancestors. So it allows you to have an entirely different show that is based on Black Flag, that is based on Origins, that does get you Ragnarok, it does get you Ezio and Altair's time period. So that to me is one of the things that I would love to see. But I know budget wise, the only people who could pull that off is somebody who's going to put in that kind of money. And there's only a handful of streaming services who have that kind of money who could pull it off correctly. And that's
So you hope
your,
maybe it goes to Amazon.
I mean, honestly, it's only two people who actually, or two street, Apple Plus, Amazon, and Warner Brothers Discovery.
Hmm.
And we know Warner Brothers Discovery ain't putting forth that kind of money.
Yeah, and I feel like Apple Plus is kind of dialing back on. They realize, man, these are good shows, but nobody's watching them. We need to dial back on how much we're spending on shows.
But they, I mean, they make great shows. But I mean, that this type, the type of show that I'm talking about, is going to be expensive, and
Hmm.
it would be a because Westworld was the remember it was Game of Thrones, and when that season ended, Westworld, and you kept that audience, that Sunday night audience, every you kept them. Um, excuse me. So I think it could be done. I just don't see anybody putting forth that money to make that type of show to tell that story over a long period of time. Um, Here's another one. Hadn't happened yet. What would you do?
Man, I do not care about Call of Duty.
But
Um, Here, I mean, make it a movie. Why not? Give me a 2 minute, not a 2 minute. Give me a 2 hour movie. Um, I feel like it lends itself well to live action. Give me a live action movie, 2 hours.
okay,
Um, I think the first few, like Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3. I think that was a pretty. I like that story overall. Um, I feel like they have been trying to recoup that, recapture that magic
Matt.
with other ones. I know people do like Black Ops, so I can't speak to Black Ops. I've only played one of them, and I enjoyed it. Maybe Black Ops 3, but I know people do like Black Ops. Um, so that could be another story. But for me, I feel like Modern Warfare could be a live action movie. Again, that's 2 hours. Maybe it covers the first Modern Warfare story, and I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how do you make it stand out from everything else? What's the last war movie we've gotten?
Last we've gotten or that's been good.
One that we've gotten.
The Civil War count from Alex
Civil War,
Garland,
the one that no, I meant more like a. I mean,
like
I
World
guess it
War
does,
II,
sure, but yeah,
like
well, not
like
yeah, like
Saving
a modern cyber,
like
like a
Saving
Saving Private
Private
Ryan.
Ryan. Okay,
Yeah, but something set in modern times.
uh,
Is it like Black Hawk Down?
question: when you say modern war movie, you talking World War II, or are you talking like
I mean,
a
modern like
depiction?
two nineties, 2000s, something like that.
In other words, a movie depicting a war that has happened recently.
Yes, yes.
The I want to say Land. It's the movie with uh, Russell Crowe, where he plays a drone pilot. Um, and
Oh,
Land of Bad.
okay. You know
Does
what? I
that
did
count?
see it. Um, again, it does technically. I guess I was just thinking of like boots on the ground, troops on the ground, going through buildings, that kind of stuff. Thinking of a war movie like that. But I do remember seeing it was a movie. It was a drone. It was about drone pilots and what they did. It was a very good movie. I can't remember who was in it. It was a British lady.
Oh, I know what
Uh,
you're talking about. It's where yeah
who's
was
the woman? Helen Mirren.
yes
Yeah, that was
um
good. I enjoyed that.
that was I want to say that was based on a true story. Hold on a second.
Eye in the Sky. Extraction. I forgot about Extraction. And I know Leroy loved Extraction 1 and 2. I wonder. I don't know. Would I
But
consider
here's the
those? I
thing.
mean, I don't know if
But
I consider that a war
those
movie
aren't
though.
war movies. Those aren't war movies.
Yeah,
But
because he's just
he's right. But he's right that a Call of Duty movie would have to follow an extraction type. A Call of Duty would have to follow extraction in a way. In other words, you're following a main character who would be Price
hmm
and Task Force 141. If you went that route, you would have to follow them on a mission. So it would it in a sense of you, it would be kind of like extraction. It wouldn't necessarily be a war movie. Or what you could do is what if I would sorry, how, so you would do live action 2 hour movie, right?
yeah, and that I'm glad that came from Chicago said Extraction because I'm almost thinking of maybe it's a one shot style movie, almost like was that 1917, but it's not set back during that. It's set during more modern times, and it's a one shot take style movie. That could be interesting, maybe. Because I'm
So
thinking of like, was it End of Watch where they had a really good one shot scene in there? Extraction had some good one shot scenes, but if you did the whole movie like that, that could be cool.
I wouldn't do a one shot. What at least for me, I wouldn't do a one shot.
hmm
I would I what I would do if I would do a live action. I would do a movie, and I would hire the Russo brothers to make it because I think they did a good job. Say what you will about the Gray Man, say what you will about Citadel, you cannot knock the way that they shoot action.
Sure.
Their scenes are very well done. Now the scripting, no comment. But if you go get Joe Carnahan, who did Narc and who has worked with them, go look at some of his movies. I would also look at old boy who did Fury. Um,
That's your Suicide Squad boy, right? David Ayer?
yeah, uh-huh. If you
Yeah.
go look at some of the ways that they told that story, I like Six Underground. Michael hates that movie. I like
I
it.
don't I don't know if I
It's
hate it. I was just like,
it's
well,
Michael Bay.
whatever.
You're not a fan. You were like that movie gave you seizures.
I definitely didn't say nothing about no seizures.
You were like this is too. It was too much.
Maybe I said that. I don't think I said it gave me seizures.
You were like you did mention you were like if you were susceptible to seizures, you would get one watching this because you were like the
I might
color
have said
palette is
that.
all over the place. You were like this is too much because after Six Underground came out, Ambulance came out. You were like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I was like, I love this, and you were like, yeah, you would.
I do remember that conversation.
But I would I would set Call of Duty as a war within a war. I would have Task Force 141 going into a war zone. You pick the real war that's going on. There's a bunch of conflicts going on in Africa. If you follow the news, there's a bunch of different conflicts going on over there. You have the war in Ukraine going on right now. You have send Task Force 141 in a war zone to complete a mission, and you set it up kind of like uh, I'm blanking on the movie, but it's Bruce Willis. Uh, Hold on, Tears of the Sun.
Mm, okay.
I would go Tears of the Sun like that. I would go look a movie like that where these guys go off script, go off mission. They find out something that they weren't supposed to find out. I would go live action. I would go live action for this one. Um, we already know The Witcher has gone live action, so no need to beat a dead horse. But I'm interested to see what you would
No, just
say.
burn that shit.
Oh,
That's just so weird. Leave it as a video game. I know Hideo Kojima, he's a genius and he's an artist and everything,
you
and I
burning this
enjoy
one
the
too?
games,
You
but
burning this one
like
too?
it's not it's just like it's
You
so
burning it? You
I don't
burning this
even
one?
know.
You burning this one?
Um
I know you like this one. I know
yeah,
you like this
leave it leave yeah, I love that one. That's my favorite one. Just leave it as a game. I don't
one.
know.
Okay.
With the I don't
It's
know.
going to
I
get
don't have the
made.
capacity. Oh, well,
It's going to get
they've been
made.
talking about that for years now at this point.
I felt very.
Uh,
I, how did I?
I feel
This
like
is
it
going to
needs to be a
sound bad.
TV show. I feel like it
This
needs
is
to be
going
a
to
live
sound
action
bad.
TV show because there's so much to it. I don't think you could a movie gives it enough time to do it justice. So I feel like it's got to be a TV show where you learn a little bit, and maybe it's a dual storyline thing where there is a current timeline and then there's a previous timeline where we're learning about Snake and everybody else and all these things, and everybody's getting past things, and they just kind of intersect every once in a while. Uh, who does current and past storylines at the same time very well?
Westworld.
Sure, but
Fringe did
Westworld
it
is
too.
so
Fringe did it too.
Fringe. Yeah, yeah. I feel like 'cause it's a geopolitical thriller. I almost feel like it'll be way crazier than this, but I feel like it's in the vein of the latest Jack Ryan series on Amazon. Um,
Keep talking. Keep
I
talking.
just feel like at least from the standpoint of the current timeline, I feel like it's kind of set with that. But then it gets so weird. I and I don't know what the words I'm looking for is like. Sometimes Metal Gear can be so focused and like, oh, here's something real, and then you got Vamp a vampire, you got a man, the end, who's old as shit and is a sniper, and you got this person who can make you feel pain, and it's just wild. Um, I don't know. I think the video games, as wild as they are, they do a good job of being somewhat grounded and then just doing wild stuff. And then I don't know how that translates to how that in my mind I want it to be live action, but I don't know how it translates. Live
I think
action
you can.
show.
I think I'm with you on that live action. However, I'm going to go a different route, and I'm going to go animated, and I'm going to go
Wait.
not anime. But go ahead.
Oh, you're saying you see my live action, but you would do animated. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
I would watch yours. Like I'm not knocking it. Like I'm not disagreeing with you. I see where you're going. I like where your head's at. However, I would go animated, and because for everything that you just said, the characters in this game are fantastic. Revolver Ocelot,
Yeah.
uh, Psycho Mantis. Um, you have a freaking shaman who's a tank. You've got
So
Vamp.
you're doing y- you were doing Metal Gear Solid 1? It sounds
I'm doing
like
it
based on
all.
the characters your name. Oh,
I'm
okay,
doing it
got it.
all. I'm doing it all, and you know what I'm doing? I'm doing an animated series, but I am hiring. Here's where I'm different from everyone else. I am hiring a video game company to make the animated series. Boom!
Okay.
Mind blown. Because here's the thing, no one gets the characters as good as the people who make the games. And they already do cutscenes. So why not fricking just hire Kojima to do the fucking animated series?
So, devil's advocate for a second.
Go, go.
As fun as the games are, I feel like sometimes people may skip past the cutscene because it gets so wild and like I don't even know what you're talking about, Kojima.
Because they want to play the game. Yes, I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah. So what I'm wondering is, you can't skip past the TV show because you're watching it. Is it going to get so wieldy, unwieldy, and outrageous that you're like, I don't even know what this show is? Is that a concern? That's a concern for me. If Kojima's the one doing
Here's the thing. I see what you're saying, and I raise you. That's why Kojima will have an editor.
it.
He,
Yeah.
because,
Okay.
because here's the thing. I agree with everything you're saying, and when you're playing a video game, you don't want to watch a movie. But part of the reasons why you play Kojima games is because you're going to get a wild, fantastic story while you play this game. So
Sure.
you already know going in, if you were aware of it, what you're going to get with a Kojima game. So with a Kojima animated series, you would get Kojima at his Kojimius with some notes because he's got to pack all of his Kojimianess in 30
Hmm.
minutes.
Okay.
Give him 13 episodes a season. We start with first game, and then each season time jumps to the
Okay.
next event. So in other words, you watch the first one, you can watch the first one, not watch any of the rest of them. Totally self-contained season. You can watch the second one, it's the second game. Season 3, no, that's Substance. Sorry. Nope, that's Selfie. Wait. Yeah, here we go. Season 3, prequel, Snake Eater. Season 4, Metal Gear Solid 4. Season 5, he gets complete Phantom Pain, and he's done.
Hmm.
Like, to me, that's perfect because you get the actual game, you get the actual characters created by the person who actually created them in a world that he created at their purest. Uh, Kiefer Sutherland would come back to voice Snake. Um,
But he's not going
for
to be the model. Oh wait, yeah,
no, no,
you're not doing live action. That's right. So it's fine.
nope,
Yeah.
he would be the voice for. So I would bring back a lot of the same voice actors for the animated. However, I would pepper in so you could see the time jump. So present Snake is David Hayter. Past Snake is Kiefer Sutherland. And whenever you have these flashbacks, you go back between the different voices.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a whole rant about what I would do with Metal Gear Solid if I had the money. I would
Okay.
Konami and Kojima would mend fences, and he would not. He might not even get to do them, but they would mend fences. And you can to me, you cannot make a Metal Gear Solid anything that the fans will like without Kojima being some way involved.
Sure, I'd agree with that.
They're going to try with Delta, but it's just a remake of what Kojima already did. You're
Hmm.
not doing anything different. And so let's speed this up.
How many are we trying to get through?
I'm just I'm just throwing some more out there.
Okay. Mass Effect to me is probably a TV show. I think it spans enough that I think you do a TV show. Um, Give me an animated TV show, I think.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Let's get fantastical with the alien races that you get to come across and the worlds that you can explore and following a shepherd. And maybe, I don't know if I want a male Shep or a female Shep. I do think the voice actor, the female Shep, overall sounded better than the male Shepherd.
Uh-huh.
Um, so if I was keeping with the same people, I'd probably say female Shep. Fem Shep
Okay.
is what they called her.
Okay.
Um,
She
I like
Shep
that idea. I
from
never heard she Shep.
She Shep.
I just heard Fem Shep, but okay. Uh, I think that'd be interesting. And
Her
I
pronouns are
really
badass and
enjoyed.
fuck you up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the story for the first Mass Effect. The gameplay was okay, but I think the overall story and the pacing in that first game was really good, and the way they kind of brought everything out. And I can't remember anybody's name now, but who was the
Joker. Joker was played by Seth Green.
no no no
Oh,
who
sorry.
was the person that, spoiler
Garrus.
alert, got infected? No,
Saren.
the Saren.
Yeah.
I really liked Saren, and I kind of felt bad for Saren, honestly. Um, when
He
once he
was
got
he
infected
was
by
the most
whatever,
famous Spectre.
yeah.
He was the best Spectre of all time.
I think that was a pretty good character overall, and I think they did a good job showing his downfall throughout the course of that first game. But yeah, give me a cartoon animated TV show.
Okay. How you animated it? Like, what's the animation style you're going for?
Um, I would be okay with a 3D style animated thing.
Ooh.
You say that like you haven't seen this before.
Yeah, but I did it on purpose this time, and it worked because you were talking, so I wanted to like highlight.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
See.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Look at you, director buttons coming back out.
I don't get to do it
Um,
at work, so I got to do it here.
y- yeah, I think 3D style in the this is a older take, but do you remember the movie, was it Appleseed?
Yes.
Something like that. That style of animation for Mass Effect.
Okay.
Yeah. Folks, look up Appleseed if you don't know Appleseed.
Yeah, Appleseed was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, I, I would. So, wait. No, I can't get it back.
So happens when you touch stuff.
I know. Nope.
Look at you. No, nope. Yeah, that looks weird.
Nope. That's not.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to get it back to the. Oh nope.
Oh
I,
God, stop touching stuff.
I can't.
And
Uh,
then
I need you. There we go. Okay, back.
man,
Uh, as much as I would love for Mass Effect to be live action, and if it went live action, I would love for it to be shot like The Expanse. I would love for a live action Expanse to happen, but I know that's probably not possible. So I I would love for it to be
why
an
is it not
anime.
possible? You said in this world you got infinite money, right?
If I had infinite money, get me the team behind The Expanse, get me
Mm-hmm.
that Amazon money,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of making, and I'm not knocking it, instead of you spending $1 billion on Lord of the Rings, I'd make a Mass Effect series. I would. I would get the character. I would hire Neil Blomkamp for ship design. He would be in charge of um, ship design and weapons. I would get the original. I'd get the band back together from BioWare to help them. Like Todd helped the Westworld team when they did Fallout. I would get BioWare. I'd get that whole original team in the writers' room to help them craft, and I would make it live action. I would. I would love to see Krogan live action. I would bring on. I would hire ILM, and I would get Stan Winston's um, creature effects, and I would turn this into probably the most expensive television show ever.
Okay.
But I ain't got that kind of money, and I know it's not getting greenlit. So that's just me. So I would go animation, and I would go. Um, I'm trying to find the Love, Death, and Robot animated series or animated, the which one I'm looking for, but I would make it brighter. So I would like the beginning of the show would be kind of bright, and to make my show, I would not tell it from Shepard's point of view. In other words, the whole war is going on,
Hmm.
and this group has to survive, and Shepard and the Citadel are all of these things that lives outside, and they live in this world where all this is going on, to where this battle happens at the Citadel, and then you hear Shepard dies, and you're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're fucked. And then you go about your merry way, and then you hear Shepard's back, and you're like, wait, what? And it's like, so like kind of like remember in Expanse you had the feeds and stuff like that going on, where like all these different battles were, this intrigue was going on between Mars and Earth and the Belters. All of that's going on while you navigate this world. So it's all of these great stakes going on outside of you, but the stakes that you have are like, how are we going to get fuel? How do we navigate the Asari? All of these different things. So that's where I would go with Mass Effect. I'd have my own little crew, about 5 people, and that's the kind of show I would make. And that kind of show could end up on Netflix.
Okay.
So yeah, so like Shepard's a big he's the HNIC. You know him, you hear about him, but he shows up and you're like impressed that it's, oh my gosh, it's Shepard. But you don't interact with him. You don't know him like he's not a playable character. You just know that this is great hero of XYZ. You want to do one more? Are you done?
I mean, I
Because
feel
I
I
got
feel
one
like
more.
you want to do one more.
I do want to do one more.
Let's do one more.
You hold on. I'm gonna let you pick though.
I mean, this is past my bedtime, but
Which one? And I'll save the other one.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. Because both of these properties sucked on TV, or their live action
hmm.
did not. Like I love this franchise, and I will never forgive Mark Wahlberg for this. And I'd refuse to watch this one because of Mark
Um,
Wahlberg.
I
So
feel like
he's my new nemesis, by the way.
I like Mark Wahlberg. He's fine.
Mm.
Uh,
That's because you watched the Holly Berry. Oh, two of my nemesis in one movie. I didn't even think about that. Um,
yeah, that movie was fun. We can do Uncharted.
okay, let's do Uncharted.
The next part. For me, and this is interesting because on the one hand, we got the Uncharted movie, which I think it may have broken even because I think they're looking at making Uncharted 2.
They are making a sequel, and I was
It
very
wasn't very
upset.
popular, not
But
critically
it
or
ma-
but it
made
made enough
enough
money
money
to,
to make it too.
yeah. Um, it was Naughty Dog, which is also the same studio that gave us Last of Us, which that is highly plotted, highly praised TV show. Um,
Wait, whoa, 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 whoa! It's not the same studio that made the
no,
movie.
no, 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 no. That's not
Yes,
what I'm saying.
Naughty Dog is the same studio that made the game.
That's let me
Okay,
finish my thought. That's
okay.
not what I'm saying. What
Yeah,
I'm
I was about
saying
to
is
say.
the studio was in charge of both properties. They made those games, so it's interesting that one of their games is highly praised. Like the adaptation is highly praised, but the movie sucks. Granted, like you said, it is made by different people, but it almost gives you a blueprint in how you could do Uncharted. You do a live action, and the person you put in charge of doing the live action TV show is Neil Druckmann, and get Craig Mazin. Why not? Um, I think I think you could follow the structure of the game similar to how the TV show follows the structure of the
Hold
game for
on.
Last of Us.
Andre, I never forgot. I never forgot they made Max Payne because I never forgot Mark Wahlberg came out of his goddamn mouth and tried to come for other properties, and then he fell flat on his face. I never forgot. Continue.
Okay, fantastic. Um, But I think you kind of have a blueprint like, oh, you know what? Let's let the people who actually made the game work on this. Now, you could argue, depending on which Uncharted you were doing, maybe it's not Neil Druckmann, maybe it's Amy Hennig, because she was I think the lead writer for like maybe the first three games, and then after that it was Neil Druckmann and whoever for Uncharted 4. But maybe you get Amy Hennig, you get Neil Druckmann, and you get Craig Mazin all in a room together. They figure out what the script is going to be for Uncharted. Um, I think Uncharted, the games themselves, kind of already aped from like the old serials of like Solomon's Mines or in Indiana Jones, that kind of serial Saturday weekend adventure romp. So I think you can kind of do the same thing um, with them in charge and give it a live action. Now, is it a movie or is it a TV show? I think it's probably a movie. I don't think I need to. I think the pacing of that game could be done in a movie, and I don't feel like I need it every like a half hour show to do it. Although, oh man, did you watch what was the show on CBS? Was it Blood and Treasure?
No, I don't remember anything like that.
It
CBS?
yeah, it lasted for 2 seasons. It didn't last long. It kind of had a feel of a, oh, let's jump here and do different things of going globetrotting adventure, solving a mystery. Um, Kind of had a feel of like a Uncharted type of feel to it. I think it was called Blood and Treasure. Yeah, because the second season got delayed so long because the storyline of it was essentially a mass virus breaks out, and this happened during COVID. They're like, oh, we can't release this now because this is too close to home. So it got delayed a while before the second season came out.
I honestly don't know what I'd do in Uncharted.
Okay.
I honestly don't. I brought it up because I was really hoping you were going to go Max Payne, so I could talk more
I,
shit about Mark
I,
Wahlberg.
I feel like you should have just picked Max Payne then.
Nah,
Okay.
I wanted you to be able to pick what you wanted, buddy. Um,
Okay.
no, I love the games. Three is my favorite Uncharted. I know you said two was yours, right?
Hmm.
Three was my favorite. Um, I like four, but four was not. Four is my fourth favorite. Maybe like I love some of the action pieces in it, but I just think I didn't buy the whole brother thing. Like the brother Sam just kind of got on my nerves. Although I did enjoy the action pieces that he was involved in, like the motorcycle chase, top notch. Like,
Hmm.
and you can tell it was Naughty Dog who did both Uncharted for that motorcycle scene because if you didn't play it, but if you go back and play Last of Us Part 2, the way that motorcycle chase pops off in Uncharted 4 follows the war scene in Last of Us Part 2 with uh, Abby. It's very similar of her riding this horse and like going through and this giant battle's going on. It's very similar. I honestly feel like I would hire because it's Sony. If this is, I would go animated. I would go animated for Uncharted. I'd bring back the voice actors, and I would scrap all the live action stuff. And because it's already a Sony property, I would hire Sony Animated Studios after they're done with Spider Verse, and they would handle all Uncharted stuff. And I'd make it a three-part franchise. I would start with the beginning, and the first one is I would start with Nathan Drake and Sully first meeting, and I would start with that, kind of following the across the Spider Verse or the Spider Verse line of how Miles and Peter B. Parker meet
Hmm.
and kind of team up, and I would have that. I'm not your dad. I'm kind of your mentor,
Hmm.
and that relationship. I would duplicate that relationship in that property, and I would hire them because they know how to make good animation, and I would hire them because the animation that I'm looking at I need it because the locations were so beautiful in the Uncharted games. I need them to be able to do that with every place that they go. And
Okay.
so I would hire people who already did the thing that I need them to do. You did this, I trust you. And because some of these artifacts that they keep finding that are basically world ending artifacts or artifacts that give people immense power, I would want that translated on screen in a way that the audience can receive and see it kind of like across the Spider Verse does.
Okay.
So that's my take. I really like this one. There's some more. Remember which ones we did because I still because we didn't do like
We
there's
didn't do a
still
lot
like
of them.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we can
Yeah.
come back to this because I really like this because I wanted to get away from like why did Joker 2 suck? Well, the first one wasn't great. So
I
like
mean, and also I didn't see the second, so I couldn't tell you why it sucked.
I mean I wasn't going to see the second one. And I loved the trailers for the first one. Like I out of both of us, I was the one who was really excited about Joker. And
Hmm.
then we watched it. I was like, this ain't it. And then I
Hmm.
watched it again, and I'm like, I'm never going back to watch this. This is not a good movie. I don't see what the appeal is. And I was like, okay, cool. It's not for me. I'm not gonna knock it. That's on y'all. But I wanted to get away from that discourse to have something and have fun with something. And I felt like
Hmm.
this was fun. So, what got you through the week, buddy?
We talked when we first started. We were talking about stuff that I did today, and I named a bunch of things
Crime
that
Scene Kitchen.
watched. Crime Scene Kitchen, man, I do like Crime Scene Kitchen. That is good stuff. Some other stuff that I watched. I finally finished season 4 of For All Mankind, and I knew it was going to be good. I just kept putting it off for some reason, but
Mhm.
I was not disappointed. For season 4 was really great. Um, a lot of good stuff, and I don't know how they keep coming up with stuff, but I'm excited for season 5. And there's a spin-off show for All Mankind coming, or in the
Really?
works at least. Yeah,
Okay.
it's supposed to be from the perspective of the Russians, like their how they were handling the space race. So I finished that. Uh, you remember the trailer that we watched for The Lioness?
Yeah. Linus 2
So
season 2 just
yeah,
dropped.
so I don't know what they did, but season 1 is now on Amazon Prime because it was on Paramount Plus, and we didn't have
It
that
is?
anymore. Yes,
Prime
I
had
yeah
that? Yep. I did not know that. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and
yeah. I watched
Prime will be okay. It's a 7-7. So
yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes and like the first 40 minutes of the third episode. I'm really enjoying The Lioness a lot. I should have known I would have because it's done by Tyler Sheridan, who
mhm.
does a lot of good stuff.
He's kind of
Um,
hit or miss for me. I love him, but some of the stuff that he does, I'm
I
like,
know
eh,
everything that I've seen from him, I've loved. There's nothing that he's done that I haven't liked
okay.
personally. People are talking about the Penguin. I know you talked about the Penguin. I haven't watched it yet, but I'll get
That's
to
what
it.
got me through the week. I love that show.
Those two shows for me, and then like I said, I'm still playing Yakuza Infinite Wealth, the most recent. Or I think it's called like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. No, it's not Yakuza anymore. I'm loving that. Loving my time in Hawaii, trying to fight off these Hawaiian mobsters and gangsters. It's good stuff.
You said it's on Amazon?
Amazon Prime, yeah.
Okay. And I don't have to like
You shouldn't have to buy anything.
about that.
Type
I'm
in the
looking for it
lioness.
right now. I'm looking for it right now. And I'm like, yeah, I so that came on after we had separated and Mary was like, "Hey man, I need you to cancel
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to hold on to this password because I'm not trying to buy.
yeah.
But yeah, I really wanted to watch that. I like Tyler Sheridan, and I really wanted to see Old Girl because I loved her in Columbiana. I think
Hmm.
that's one of her best films. That and
Hmm.
The Losers. Um,
Okay, no, I don't do horror stuff, man.
oh,
That don't sit well with my constitution.
hold on. So I'm gonna get to that in a second because this is something I need y'all to do. Um, because I told Katie this is what we doing since
Yeah,
I
Kenny from
did.
Chicago. I haven't gotten to Penguin yet. I keep hearing about it, and I'll get to it. But there is so much good TV on. I still haven't finished all of Shogun yet. So I mean, there's so much good TV I need to get to. I need to see
Yeah,
season 3 of The Bear.
So I'll look for it later. Anyway, so for me, Penguin was really good. I'm really enjoying that. It is worth it. Um, I keep saying that I'm going to cancel Max, and then Penguin came out, and if they keep up this trend with Dune, they may keep me again. But Penguin is worth it. Um, it Penguin was good, and it makes you realize you can tell a story in Gotham without Batman
Hmm.
and do a good job of creating why people stay in Gotham. How does Gotham operate outside of Batman? And it's really good. I think they're on. I just watched the fourth episode. I want to see how this plays out. Everybody in there, like I know that's Colin Farrell, and I can see it's Colin Farrell, but he's so good in the role. I'm like, and the woman who plays the Hangman, Kristen Milotti,
Milioti. Yeah.
Milotti,
Yep.
she's great.
She's awesome in
Um,
everything she does. I like her. I have a
she's
big crush
great.
on her.
Um, so it's that The Old Man. If you haven't been watching on FX, and
At this
here's the
point,
thing,
I've decided on that show. I'm just going to wait till it finishes, and then I'll continue watching because
you
I need to see it
suck.
all at once.
You suck. Like I
But
will
it's
say
good.
this.
It's very good.
I will say this. I miss the week to week hype of a something like every week something to look forward to, and The Old
Sure.
Man does it for me. And this season, John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges, perfect. No notes, wonderful. They're holding their own. But the women in this series, Amy Brennan, I've always liked her. I've always liked Amy Brennan.
Oh, so she's back in season 2?
Yeah, she's in the trailer. If you hadn't seen the trailer, she's back.
Okay.
It's not a spoiler, but she's back. If you watch the trailer for what's coming up this season, she is amazing. And the thing that makes her so amazing is her her grappling with the real world implications of who she's with and what she brings to the table, and the last episode really hits you hard with realizing who you thought you were and who you actually are. And that realization of her realizing, oh, I thought I was this person, but I'm really this type of person. And you only realize that after these events happen to you, and you realize, oh, I didn't know that, and I'm not okay. And that is a very big that idea, because if you watch Jeff Bridges in this and you watch him, he really, I don't want to say he stays the same, but he's good. It's the other people around him as they grapple with the things that happen to them. Ali Shakot, I think that's how you pronounce her name, who plays Angela Adams. Once again, superb, no notes. But it's really the women in the show that like bring something to these roles that you normally in these action movies are subordinate characters. They're supporting characters. They have no agency. The men do all the work. But in this show, that's not what happens. Um, it is amazing. So I can't stress enough about those two things. And I'm playing Borderlands 3, and I'm enjoying it.
Cool. Good stuff.
So we talk about horror movies. I'm going to put a poll up, guys, for everybody watching. Katie and I don't do a lot of horror. She is worse than Michael. She won't do horror, but it's Halloween coming up. It's October, scary, spooky season. My son loves Halloween, so I know we're going to eventually have to like start watching like spooky stuff as he gets older because there's a lot of stuff he likes that is spooky. So I told Katie we're going to start watching to build up her immunity to scary stuff. I'm gonna put a poll out, and you get to decide which Jordan Peele movie me and her watch. So it's gonna be between Nope, Us, and Get Out. She's never seen any of them. Put a poll up. You decide which one we watch. Um, and we're gonna watch it together, and I'll report back to you what she thought, her thoughts, and how she felt about it.
You
Uh,
should get her to talk on the stream about it.
she ain't doing that.
Oh, okay.
I told her I asked her to do it, but she was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that." But yeah. So I'm gonna put a poll up because I've watched all of them and I love them, and they're not like gory horror, but it is that make you think kind of horror where you're
Hmm.
like, oh, um, I don't know if she's ready to do a watch along, but I will. I'll broach the subject. I'll see if she's down for it. But yeah, so that's what we got going on.
Cool. Folks, Leroy's kept me on far too long. This is past my bedtime. I got other stuff to do.
Sleep when you're dead,
I
nigga.
wow, fantastic. I enjoy spending time with y'all, but I got to go spend time with my lady too. So we will be
So I
back
say what's up.
maybe next week. I will. Maybe we'll be back next week live or taped. I don't know. We've been consistent 3 weeks in a row now. That's interesting. That's something for us. So cool. Um, until next time, be safe. I don't know if you guys have any family or friends impacted by Helene or Milton, reach out to them because that stuff is devastating. Let me tell you, covering these stories is sucky.
Yeah, it's
But
hard.
if you can help where you can, help out. Till next time, we'll be back later. Peace out.
Yep. All right. Peace.